Welcome to another edition of Coffee with the Goose, where we talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, and irritating. Yes, I'm the Goose. It's been a while, but glad to have you back. We're ready to rock and roll as we finish up the holiday season and get ready for a new year. What's the latest in the... Jeez, you know, it's been been a little while. I forgot. I got to get my coffee, my medicine, right? My coffee, as you know, very strong, like my opinion. Got some creamer in there to make it sweet, just like me. All right, now we're set. Okay, what's the latest in the boxing world, or more specifically, the welterweight boxing world? At last check, we're all wondering, what's the mystery around Errol Spence Jr.? He survived this horrible car crash back in October, and we hadn't heard anything since. Hadn't seen him, hadn't heard anything from him. No update on his condition, nothing. And so we're all, praying for the best, but expecting not so good news. Well, we got some good news. Just before Christmas, Errol Spence Jr. did an interview. Yes! And he looked okay. I mean, you could tell he's a little scuffed up on one side of his face. That's to be expected if you roll a Ferrari going a gazillion miles an hour and you're ejected from the vehicle. But he's alive and well and speaking, and, that's really good news. So our prayers have been answered. Good for you, Errol Spence Jr. Are we going to see a unification bout then? That's the next obvious question. Unification bout with Manny Pacquiao. I still doubt it. Why? Because I'm a realist when it comes to medical and injury issues. And when I say I'm a realist, that comes from hard experience. Anyhow, that rollover was, there's even a video of it. Just horrible crash. He was ejected from the vehicle. He got a DWI, which of course that was a given. He was hammered, with his kids waiting back home. That's not a good scene. But we're all sinners, right? It was nice to see him speak, and he was very humble, which is expected when you go through something like that. He said his recovery is a miracle from God. And yes, no doubt about it. And that's so true. He's learned the important lesson in life that God is in control of everything, and your prayers, especially when you get that many people who care so much about you, those prayers will be answered in some way from God. But he, as the interview went on, and it only lasted about 3 minutes, the host of the show asked him, "So what do you remember about the crash?" And he said, "Well, not much. I don't think he remembers anything." Because he was, again, I don't know. I haven't seen the medical report. I'm not a doctor, but let's face it, he was knocked out. You don't get thrown from a vehicle and then, dust yourself off and go, a couple of scratches, right? No, come on. He was probably knocked out, so he doesn't remember anything about that crash. And then, very smart man, Errol Spence Jr., he said, on the advice of my lawyer, I'm not going to say much. That's good advice from his lawyer. Keep your mouth shut, because there may be more legal trouble on the horizon for him. I, among many, was very surprised that it was just a driving under the influence charge after that crash. He could have killed innocent people. He could have killed himself. Horrible crash. But again, I'm not, wishing any ill on Errol Spence Jr. I'm thankful he's recovered, and who knows what's going to happen. Whether he fights Pacquiao or anybody after this, we don't know. It's up to him. It's up to God. Again, and I'm not going to give you my whole story, but I've learned, and it's been, I've had many bad injuries, but my worst is about 14 years ago. I know what it's like to be knocked into next week, or in my case, knocked into the next month, and being very humbled and confused and frustrated, and not knowing what the future holds for me. And I experienced not just my own, as I'm watching somebody walk their dog here. Beautiful. Sorry. Yeah, I'll get focused here. I didn't, in my case, not only did I go through some horrible injuries, but as I remember, my only real memory of that is laying in bed in the rehab unit, listening to people crying and moaning in the middle of the night, and there are people worse off than I am. Very humbling what Errol Spence Jr. went through. And again, we wish nothing but the best for him. But let's be real. Is he going to fight again? He might, but and this is just an opinion, but, I've been around the block. I know a few things about medicine, personally. He's a shell of his former self as a boxer, for sure. The only real injury that they made public was broken teeth and some, he had a lot of surgery, I'm sure several surgeries. That's why we didn't hear about him for 2.5 months, just to fix up his face. Well, guess what? If you're a boxer, and even as a championship boxer, if you win, you're going to get punched in the head, 300 times in one night? Do you think he's going to be able to handle that after this crash? The physical injury may be healed by the time he gets back in the ring. But mentally, the mental injury, it's called muscle memory. I don't remember my injury, my head injury. But my body does, and it wants nothing to do with that again. I can't get up on ladders. I can't walk over to the edge and look down a few stories. No, I'm terrified of that. And, Errol Spence Jr. has his own demons mentally to battle even beyond the physical injury. So, I hope he gets back in the ring. I really do. And he said during the interview that, I've been training and I'm going to fight again in, May or June? Or May or June. So good for him. And he actually mentioned a name, Danny Garcia, and that was apparently who he was going to fight to begin with. So, I don't know, we'll see. But May or June does not fall into Manny Pacquiao's timeline. Pacquiao has already said he's going to fight in March or April. So, it's too bad that, life gets in the way of our dreams, right? I would love to see, and I know many of you would love to see Pacquiao go at it with Errol Spence Jr. and further unify the welterweight title. Now, just to refresh your memory, Spence was coming off his greatest night ever as a boxer right before that accident. He defeated Sean Porter for another share of the welterweight title, and that was a tough fight. Many people thought he was on the verge of losing it before he scored a knockdown late in the fight. But he is now the WBC and IBF welterweight title holder, and of course Pacquiao is the WBA title holder. So that would, if they fight, it would unify the belt to 3 of the titles. And a total undisputed champion, I can't see that happening. Pacquiao, Porter, Spence all belong to the PBC group, whereas the other welterweight title holder, who would that be? It'll come to me. See, it's my memory. Terrence Crawford fights for Top Rank and Bob Arum. So who knows what'll happen there. What about Spence and Pacquiao? Again, there's so many ifs. There's so many questions as to whether that's going to happen. I doubt it, personally. Before he was injured, Spence, to his credit, was all talk. I want Pacquiao. I can handle him. And many, not I, but many boxing fans thought, Pacquiao can't handle Spence, which is kind of foolish. There's nobody Pacquiao can't stand toe-to-toe with. But, that's probably not going to happen now. As I said, Errol Spence Jr. has not just physical but mental demons to, battle and overcome before he gets back in the ring with anybody. So we'll see. Again, I give Errol Spence Jr. all the credit in the world. He's a tough guy, Well, so was I before I was hurt. And many of you know what this is like. You're tough. Yeah, you're indestructible. You can handle anything until that fateful day when, no, you realize you can't handle everything, and none of us can. And you learn what's important, and what's important is not that you're a tough guy and you're a beast, as Spence said allegedly after his crash. What's important is love and praising God and loving your neighbor and loving your family and being humble. That's what's important. And so, hopefully, Errol Spence Jr., his recovery will continue. And, more prayers for you, Errol Spence Jr. You've been down a tough road, and we support you and wish nothing but the best for you. But a fight with Manny Pacquiao? Probably not. A fight with anybody? Maybe not. His career might be over. And that's what a crash like that will do to you. We'll see. Anyhow, that's it for this edition of Coffee with the Goose. We're going to talk about Pacquiao and some amazing news with him in our next show. Stick with me. We have more great shows to come. Don't forget, we're on Facebook, Coffee with the Goose. And thank you so much for watching. And many, many thanks to you subscribers. We really, really appreciate it. All right, you take care.